Good morning, everyone. Happy
Morning.
Thursday. Morning, morning. Tyler's smiling in the car. Love it. He's on his way here. No.
I wish.
A girl can dream. No. Awesome. Well, today, as promised, Drew Woodley is in the house. She's not in my house. Again, I like having people over. Hi, Drew.
Everyone.
What's going on? I would like you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Drew and how long you've been here, where you came from, where you're going, all of it.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm like, that's jam-packed. My name is Drew Woodley, and I'm directed Donna and Scott Forehand, part of the Matthews hierarchy. And I am in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So we were just talking about the fact that it does snow and it does get cold in the desert. So it's my voice. I'm a bit nasally today. Uh, I have been here with Symmetry for a year now. It's been a good long first year. Finally came over the hump last month. Prior to, I had been in sales my whole life. I love people, to be honest with you. And I found Symmetry because my job had closed down on the spot. I was sales managing, ended up on unemployment. Found out month five that unemployment was only for 6 months,
Mm.
no extensions, and I was blessed enough to have found Symmetry, and I've been here ever since, moving through, trying to figure out, just how to get to where I'm going and where I'm
Mhm.
going. Uh, Yesterday is building an agency. So getting through Slingshot, hitting my promotional level, and now I'm finally seeing the light and got a vision. So.
Awesome. Yeah, so you're kind of in the mud, just working your way through.
And it is mud sometimes. So
Yeah, yeah, all the things. Wow. Okay. So I know you're a mom. I saw the trampoline in the picture last week that you sent from the snowstorm. Unless, hey, I used to jump on the trampoline back in my 20s, but
I was a cheerleader, I just almost broke my neck doing a back handspring for my son.
like, look what mommy can do. Wait, mommy used to do this.
Oh, it's been about 14 years, got it.
Oh gosh, that's great. I love it. Well, we like to have a little coffee chat here. I've been doing this morning show. Gosh, it's been over a year, and I can't believe that either. And just recently started doing a podcast, and I'm new to that. I'm in Scott's office. I got my headphones. I'm all professional. My mic, check, check. But it's fun. I love it. I'm a people person too, Drew, and that's why I'm here. Scott and I just celebrated 10 years in May. So that's nuts, right? Time flies when you're having fun. So tell me, you said you're building a team. What's that look like right now? I mean, did you always know, yeah, I'm gonna get my feet wet and then I'll do that later? Or what was that vision for you?
First of all, congratulations. 10 years is
Thanks.
a solid time.
Yeah.
I've noticed, things do get really fun after a while. They do. So started to have fun. I don't know if you all are familiar with Coach Finney, but he
Yes.
is a gem, and I love Coach Finney. And for me, schedule has always been an issue. Just trying to lock that down, right? I do have a schedule that I set, but as a mom, things constantly pop up.
Hmm.
So I felt myself getting frustrated. The truth is this is the only thing that I do. So I'm full-time committed, but really, if we break it down, I work part-time.
Yep.
And kind of where I was able to see, the frustration and not being able to keep a full-time schedule, but the blessing in that I'm at home. I'm able to dedicate myself full-time to my household, work part-time, but earn a full-time income. And that's kind of where we came up with the idea for the agency that I did not know, but I'm so fired up to build. And it's an agency of moms because
Yeah.
moms, we work a little bit differently and the
Mm-hmm.
struggles that we go through. So
Mm-hmm.
currently, I do have a father who's working on getting licensed.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a fellow mom who's working on getting licensed,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in the very beginning, but I'm excited. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that's another thing that I've enjoyed so much is just how much personal development work that we do. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Even as a mom, sometimes it's hard to find something for you.
Mm-hmm.
And this has kind of been my space to grow and figure out who I am and what I like and what I want for the future. And so it's been very positive.
Yeah, you made me think about like our identities, like, oh, hi Drew, what do you do? Oh, I'm a mom. Like, is that first? Yeah, usually first and foremost. But I think being here gives you a purpose back, like your own kind of thing, and like, oh yeah, I have more to offer. Like, right? And then you said you get excited for people that you're bringing on. I love that part. Like that's the extra motivation that comes along the way that you didn't really expect. It's a little nice surprise.
Yeah, and I found like, a lot of us, most people don't know who they truly are, right? We come from our households with maybe our parents and we have an identity there. Um, Work here and there, go to college, but when you start to ask yourself, like, who am I really? You'll find you're a giant mix of everyone around you, right? So
Yeah.
I think that for anyone, this is such a cool space to kind of really figure out who you are and grow.
hmm I think for me, along this journey, I've realized my old job was like, okay, I'm leaving my house, I'm going somewhere in a building, and I'm going to be there, 10 hours, and then I'm going to get in the car and come home. And then I separated that. Here, it's been a little different. I'm integrating. It's, that work-life balance, but it's work-life integration. Whereas, like, okay, I don't have to work Monday through Friday, but I could work a little on the weekends and then maybe not work Monday or Tuesday, or, it's just the hours and all that. That's hard to kind of get used to at first, right? Because you're like, oh, how do I do my schedule? How do I do this?
Yeah, it's that part. And mindset. I know you've been doing this for a long time, but how long did I did want to ask, how long did it take you to kind of transition from, I'm a W-2 worker to I work for myself and I'm my own boss and there's things I do when I wear this hat. And, I just work for myself to, okay, this is a business. So now I've got a broad long-term plan.
Yeah, I think it's who you put in your life. Like I've had a lot of strong women in my life. And as you get older, you reflect on these people, right? Like, wow, if I didn't have her looking out for me when I needed it, or people like Michelle Purdy, business mind, friends forever, but never thought I'd be working with her, in this business or the way we are. But she would constantly feed me things that I'm reading, like, a magazine, and she's got like a business book. I'm like, okay, tell me all the stuff I should know. I'm going to open a daycare. She's like, okay, you're going to be on someone else's clock. You're going to be up at 6 a.m., working till 6 p.m. Forget your kids. You're going to be taking them and their kids everywhere. You can't have time off. I'm like, wow, that was my dream. I was like gonna have babies again, not mine, but I could give them back. And she's like, you don't want that. You're not gonna have any freedom. And I'm like, wow. So I think it's important to have strong women in your life that you can talk to and bounce ideas off of, and that will help you grow, because you're discovering things like I thought I wanted it, but I didn't. It wasn't good for me.
And that's a good point that you make is that, sometimes other people can see what you can't, right? And that's why I had called upon Coach Finney to kind of find a vision for me when I struggled to see. So that's one thing I've really picked up and embraced is there's so many people around that are helping everyone to grow.
Yeah.
Always available to see for you when you can't,
Mhm.
Um, and that's something that he had mentioned too, is, your friend took you from, well, Kelly, you might not actually want that
Mhm.
reality of it, right? The idea is nice. Um, to what Coach Finney and I were talking about, what is something that you don't exactly enjoy doing and how can we outsource it?
Yeah, I've learned to do that too. Or what I'm not great at, and I still try to do it. Like, I'm horrible at presentations and slides. Like, it'll take me all day, and I'll have like, I've been pulling my hair out. So I'm like, I'm gonna hire someone. So thank goodness I don't have to do that anymore.
The thing, you'll find people act sprinkled around symmetry that are very talented when it comes to tech. So I've even leaned on some of them. Help me
Yeah.
visualize this picture. I don't have patience. So
Well, I do want to do something a little different today. You have a lot of fans out here, Drew. And so if anyone would like to raise their hand, ask Drew a question. I know when you got on stage and talked to us when we had our Purdy meeting that morning, everyone was blown away. They're like, who is that lady? Oh, all right. So let's see who we got out there. Don't be shy. We don't have shy people here. Shy people starve, right? Shy agents. All
right.
right, you guys are being quiet
Hey,
today.
Drew.
Oh, there we go.
Like 6 a.m.
So
Nate.
I have the good fortune to have your mentors here, and I said, what questions should I ask Drew? And they said, what are your goals for 2025? What does 2025 look like for Drew Woodley?
That's a good one. So, and I get very obsessive when it comes to what I've already been able to do. I'm someone who just needs to know it's possible, right? So 2024 has been a learning year, but I really am going to dedicate 2025 to build. Um, and so ideally by the end of 2025, I'm going to be gentle with this number, but I'd like to see six writers, 6 to 10 writers, people that are not just licensed and kind of hanging out, but actually writing.
That's good. Good goals.
Yep, AO status. So how is that Drew different than the Drew who didn't have a job, was 1 month away from, unemployment benefits running out and had to get an extension? What is you seen as the biggest change in you personally from like a personal development standpoint that took you from there to where you are and then where you want to be?
I'm like, geez, that's a good one.
Pat's taken over my call. I'm just saying now. He's got
Sorry,
great questions.
Kelly.
You have great questions. See, I'm learning from the best.
those are good. So I think, and it gets real nostalgic for me. I think that if I look back to that time, my mindset was more about money, right? As long as I could pay my bills, take care of my kids, have that extra spending money, not really have to think about money, things were fine. And then when the unexpected happened, right, I kind of fell into this space of wanting. I wanted more. I actually actively tried to convince myself to be happy at a just a regular everyday level. And I know it might sound a little interesting, but I truly did. Like, why do I want more? Why do I care? What if I never achieve this or that? Um, and falling into symmetry has just been awesome. I'm someone who's curious, right? Always learning. I'm someone who gets bored if there's nothing for me to learn, or if, the ceiling thing doesn't work, which is why I've always stayed in sales. So going from a wanting space, but not really knowing where I could plant my feet. I'm not a risk taker, right? So it's not like I would go out and start getting into stocks or anything like that, but having a solid place where I had to trust, but it's not risky and it does all those things for me. Just kind of worked out that way. So now I feel like I have more of a growth and a hunger
Mm.
to see what's possible. So,
So some might argue with you, Drew, that this is risky, like that word risky, but why isn't it for you? Is it because you know what you need to do here and you're just going to do it? I mean, that's what it sounds like.
and that would be a good argument. This is risky in that you have to trust. You have to trust your mentor without knowing, honestly, in the beginning, who they even are, right? You hear pretty things, but everyone kind of says the same thing. I'll never forget when I first started, I loved everything I was hearing, but at the same time, I'm sitting here knowing that if any of this isn't true, I might have put myself in a bad position, right?
Hmm.
And then something awesome happened. I was asked to speak, and
Mm,
I caught myself saying, okay, this might be a little cliche, but you got to plug in, you got to have leads, you got to do these. And it was all the exact same thing
hmm.
everyone else was saying. And that's true. There's a system in place that works. Um, so like I said, I've been in sales my whole life. I've done everything from selling cars to business and marketing to, I mean, everything. And it can be really cutthroat.
Hmm.
Um, Even within other IMOs, there's heavy emphasis, although we can build, you don't have to build.
Hmm.
And it's not like you need someone under you to make money.
Hmm.
So there were a lot of things that I looked at just from experience right away that seemed to check out here.
Hmm.
So the biggest risk for me was I had to trust my upline, right? Trust that they had done it before,
Yep.
trust that they knew how to get me there, and trust that they actually cared. And
Yeah.
that is the biggest risk that I've
Hmm.
seen.
For sure. How did they find you? Were you on a job board or?
It's kind of funny.
Well, I want to hear the story even more now. Was it in
I,
the grocery store? It was in line? No.
I'm like, do you want the true version or
Yeah. Yeah, this is not a PG show. No.
when we talk about risk, right? The truth is I do have my PNC license as well.
Okay.
And after finding that there truly were bad people in this world and trying to start something on that side,
Hmm.
I swore I would never do insurance again. So what's hilarious to me is one day I get a call and I don't answer numbers I don't know on a typical, day. Um, and I answer, and it was Jamie Satterfield, who was amazing. He's not here anymore, but
Yeah.
it was him. And he never really told me what this was. And I ended up actually kind of accidentally hijacking his interview. You're telling me this. Well, how does this work? You're telling me this. Well, and then it was like, once I answered all my questions,
Yeah.
I was kind of like, okay, okay. I remember I had looked around and I did three corporate overviews, and the other two companies just were interesting, is what I'll say,
Mm.
in a good way.
Hmm.
And I ended up getting called back by Jamie and didn't
Mm.
really know what I was doing, where I was, but
Hmm.
plugged into the meetings right away and started hearing little tiny things that I was like, I think these might be good people.
Hmm. Cool. So never met him in person, but he called you to follow up. And that's how the rest is history.
Been here ever since.
That's awesome. I love it. That's cool. Anyone
Yeah.
else want to talk to
Hi,
Drew?
long time listener, first time caller. Hi, Miss Drew. Uh, so I've had the pleasure of getting to know Drew more since conference, and we are uh, wired very similarly. So it's been cool to get to know each other. But what I would love for you to share is you talked about how your working full time, but with part time hours because that's what's important to you for you and your family. For the new agents that are on the call, would you walk them through a week and how you're setting up your schedule and how you got there so you could do that and like give them like, pull back the Oz curtain and kind of walk. I know the story, but kind of walk them through like how that looks in your life and how it's helped you.
Yes. So, and I'll pull back the curtain, maybe a bit differently, but anybody who knows me knows that my schedule is the bane of my existence. So every week I start off and I've got this beautiful schedule, and all I want to do is work without interruptions. And then every week it's like I get a call, fire, fire, fire. So, that's just kind of the way it goes. And I think that really, if you can adopt a mindset, and this is the one that I have, I don't have to be the winner, but I refuse to lose, right? And that has actually kept me afloat very nicely. Um, I'm also a little bit different, so I can only work when my kids are in school. So for that reason, I'm in New Mexico, but I work East Coast. That way I can offer later appointments and my clients don't feel it, right? It took some trial and error. I did start, dialing this day, running appointments this day and staggering it. I went through a lot of different trial and error things. I also got caught up in, the best time to dial being the evening times. But slowly, after a while, that didn't work for me. It's like if I was interrupted at night, I missed a day of dialing. So I really had to kind of get into a even deeper mindset of, well, what can you do? And eliminate excuses, right? So maybe you guys have heard me say no excuses, just results. And that's honestly what I live by, because excuses are not going to get me where I need to be. So on a good day, my schedule stays the same. I do the same thing every single week. I will run my time, the first appointment at 9:30. So I drop off all my kids, I get home, right, get set up, and then I can run an appointment at 9:30. I do commit to showing up to meetings, so I leave a block there. And then I'll pick back up 12, 1, 2, 3. So that's a 5 appointment day. But I'm doing it in a very condensed amount of time, and I'm still off in time to go get my kid. Um, as far as dialing, I did have to again ask myself, well, what can you do? It might not be comfortable, but I'm the queen of getting up at 7 a.m., which is 9 on the East Coast, and getting a stack of leads, going to my car and driving to an empty parking lot and dialing on a Saturday morning. Because I realized, I can set 7 appointments in a couple of hours, and then I only need 8 more for the week. So sometimes you really have to ask yourself, what can you do? So for me, I do have a 5 appointment day is what I run, and I dial whenever I can all throughout the day.
I love that. That's great.
And one of the things her and I connected, and I want everybody to think about, right? Like you hear me talk about mindset a lot, is her and I say the same thing but differently, right?
Yeah.
She refuses to lose. I hate losing more than I like winning, right? And when Drew and I first connected, we were like, oh, like that was like we saw the same way. We just worded it differently. And it might word for different for you, but it's because it's and I'm teeing this up for Drew to answer, right? It's not the goal. It's not that I have to be here. It's that I'm going to be successful, but I'm going to reframe it so I can be. So how's that mind shift and how's that focus for you, Drew, for, the person saying, well, that's great and that's easy for you guys to say, but I got bills to pay this week, right? Like I have to do that. But how is looking at it that way helped you become successful this last year here?
So that's a good one. And yes, it's funny. We often will say the exact same thing, different words, which is another thing I have learned is, everybody's different and that's okay, right? Um, and so for me, when you have bills to pay, one thing to remember that I've learned personally by testing it is this business is amazing. There's such a fast turnaround, right? Um, Nowhere else that I know of that you can go and have a bill due and come up with a couple of thousands of dollars in a few days of just getting to work. So that's another cliche is there have been a few times where I've had to just get to work and something amazing happened. It worked out. Um, Trevor, ask me the last bit of your question one more time. Sorry.
So how is during your week, right? And during this first year here, how is the mindset of I refuse to lose versus I have to win? How does that mindset help you have a successful week?
Thank you for asking that again. And I think it's because I've got to answer it a bit backwards or upside down. So for me, I know where I came from, right? Anybody who knows car dealerships knows about the term belling. So you will work open to close. So I would go in from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And there might have been nobody in the dealership that day. But I will tell you, there was a season where I missed every single baseball game of my sons, like for the entire season. And at that point, I got out of car sales, right? Went and did something different, but nothing's really changed. So when I can understand, that I'm in a space now where I don't have to leave my house, right? You can have your office wherever you want, where if my family needs me, I can be there. Where if there's someone who needs to meet with me, as long as I have 48 hours notice, I can be flexible. Where I can pay my bills and there is no payday, right? There is no, well, I just have to wait till Friday and then I'll have half of it. And then the next Friday, I mean, that doesn't exist anymore. So when I really understood what I had, it made me want to protect it all the more. And so for me, coming from a gratitude and a tiny bit of fear, right? Fear of if this doesn't work out, you can go right back, right? You can walk into any dealership and go start selling, but you can kiss your home life goodbye. You're not going to be able to be there for your family, right? Um, if my friend, I have some family members who are getting married, they can call me at any point in time. And if I'm not in an appointment, I can answer. Whereas, anywhere else, you can't have a phone out. So getting to be an adult, getting to feel great about yourself, you have something, you worked for it, you earned it, it's well respected, you're making money helping people. That's not something I'm willing to let go of unless I absolutely have to, but I would die trying to avoid that. So, if I have to reach out, if I have to reach to the side, if I have to listen and be coachable, but I can keep everything I've got now, then that's what I'm doing.
That's awesome. And since you are and have been in sales, how were you at being coachable? Because did you come in here like, I already know how to sell, just point me which way to go?
So that's a good question. No, I learned, I want to call it day one. If you want to make money, right? And your manager has been there for quite some time, you should probably listen.
Hmm.
Um, so I was one where I always let my managers drive me as long as I trusted them, right? Um, I'll never forget I had sold two cars and I was so happy. And I go to my manager and he goes, great, get faster. And did you not just hear what I just did? So I made it a point, he tells me to get faster, fine. And I went back to him and I was like, two and a half cars. That is the absolute most you can sell in one day. And he high-fived me and was like, you're right, Drew. You're absolutely right. So, I learned to really, really be coachable if you have your own best interest at heart.
Hmm.
Um, but I will say that because of my experience, I really thought that I was going to come in here and I told everybody, give me 90 days. That's all I need. Give me 3 months, watch me go. And there is a serious learning. They playing it to my upline, like help,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I've seen too much, can't go back.
Like it's not upline, it's lifeline, right?
Yes, like help. So,
Yeah.
so I think it was the opposite, but I did underestimate what this would take.
Yeah. Mm, that's good. Good to know. I think we have time for one more question if anybody would like to unmute. Steve, come on, Steve. You're sitting there contemplating something in that brain.
Well, actually, it is funny because I see Drew posting on not Telegram, the other
The
one.
Purdy Slack.
Yeah, Party
Yeah.
Slack. And very rarely do you ever post like one app. It always seems like you're multiple apps and so forth. So two quick questions. Are you doing mortgage protection or life insurance or both? And what's your strategy? I know probably coming out of the forehands, do you bundle a lot or like just like talk about like how you handle your appointments?
Nice one. Thank you for that. So yeah, when I first so being with my sales background, I am queen bundler. I'm always going to bundle, right? Bundling is also in their best interest. It really is. So with all of my clients, I treat them like I would myself. And I tell them that, even though my options that I give are going to go down in price and down in value, depending, I mean, not value, but the amount of coverage they would have. I tell them, any option that you pick is going to be great because I did this as though it were me. And what would I want to see my own family with? When I first got here, I didn't know how, but I saw Scott doing it. And Scott, he was like, you can't do this yet. You're not ready. You need to go back. Done. So I was like, oh, again, there's that word. I can't hear can't. Just doesn't work for me. So of course I went back and figured it out. And now it's my belief, honestly, that every single client should have four things, unless they don't qualify, right? Every single one should have either some sort of term, IUL or a whole life. That should be their main thing in case something happens health wise. Every single client that's under age 70 should have their whole mortgage covered in accidental, right? Because it's dirt cheap. Every single person that we possibly can should have a heart attack, stroke, and cancer. I'm not big on stats, but prostate cancer, breast cancer, it's causing problems for people. And I feel, why not get paid for your suffering? It can help them pay bills, it can help them pay medical costs, or it can buy them a nice chair. Cancer is not fun. Right? So if they need to sit at home, be comfortable, right? Get yourself a new TV.
I love those things. That's so cute. It's like
Yep.
it's so simple, right? But it's real, real stuff.
Right. And so anybody that possibly that can qualify, I am doing an accidental, I'm doing a term or a whole life, depending, and I'm doing heart attack, stroke, and cancer. So that's why you'll always see three or four.
What's the fourth one though? Oh, is it a combination? Okay. Yep.
Heart attack, stroke,
Yep.
or accidental, and then
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, this has been a very, very great call. Thank you so much, Drew, for coming by. Thank you to those that had some really great questions. Love it. I love this.
thank you for asking me really great questions and looking out for everybody else here that might have needed to hear that.
Well, if this has just been your first year, I think you're going to be a rock star. You're already a rock star, but you're going to be on stage some more, having some speaking opportunities, and you're awesome, Drew. And we love having you here and sharing all your tips and tricks, like Trevor tips. Yeah, I could definitely see you guys are like this alike. Yeah, for sure. I love it.
All right, thank you, and congratulations on everything you've done and what you've built, and congratulations to everybody here and for still being here. I hope to see everybody stay here, and
Yes.
I'm always here to help out. So if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to send me a text.
Awesome. That's really nice. Thank you. All right. Well, you guys make it a great day and happy birthday, Scott Forehand.
Yes.
The goat. Yeah. You wouldn't be here, right, Drew, if Scott wasn't there. So
I
if
love
he wasn't
Scott.
born, he wasn't born today.
Better be born today and continue to have birthdays. He knows he's not allowed to not take his vitamins because I need him that much. So
That's right.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Been great. Have a great day. Thank you. Thanks
thank
so
you.
much, Drew. Bye.